Hey, what do you say, ladies and gentlemen? Dan and I are excited to introduce our Buy Me a Coffee page. We've had a lot of listeners reach out and say, hey there, bub, we really appreciate what you do and want to support the show. Well, here's one way to do that without big corporations taking, 30% of the cut of your generosity. Just head over to www.buymeacoffee.com/BigBlueBanter and chip in if you'd like to support us directly. Every contribution means a lot, and it helps keep the show going strong. We appreciate each and every one of you. Thanks for listening, and have a lovely day.
Welcome back. It's the Big Blue Banter, New York Giants football podcast. I'm Dan Schneider, joined as always my co-host Nick Flood. I do want to start the show by apologizing for the audio from today's episode earlier. Unfortunately, on our end, there was not much we can do. So I recorded an episode earlier of Beyond the Box Score for Fantasy Football Today on CBS Sports, and there was also an issue on the audio that we thought was on Adam Azer, the host's end. Maybe it was on my end. I don't know. I think it mostly has to do with just the weather going on today. Nick worked his ass off to try to fix the audio. I apologize to some of you that it was not up to par. Of course, we don't want that to be the case, especially on an episode like that where we're reacting to Brian Daboll getting fired and talking about the future. Very important stuff. Probably going to be our most important conversation of the week. I've listened back. It's not great, but it is listenable. I believe it is. Look, we've unplugged all of our mics. We've done the best we can since. Like, Nick and I have checked our mixer. We've unplugged everything. We've replugged everything. We've changed the audio settings. We put it back to like it was on normal. I don't know what else to do on our end. We just hope it won't happen again. There's no way for us to protect against that, though. And the weather being what it is, like, to me, it seems like it was just an internet connection issue and a Wi-Fi issue. I don't have the capabilities on this Mac to hardwire. Otherwise, I would. But it just is what it is. We do apologize, though, and we hope you'll still listen to that episode. We discussed a lot of things moving forward for the future, and we'll talk about some of that stuff again today and throughout these next few podcasts as well. So anyway, Nick, let's get to the offensive film. Let's first discuss just overall takeaways from what you thought, because I did really believe that in his final game as Giants head coach, Brian Daboll devised a pretty damn good game plan to attack Dennis Allen's defense.
And he attacked it. And a lot of it was, look, they couldn't run the football. They tried. They tried to diversify the rushing attack, as we talk about a lot, man. But their most impactful runs were by far the quarterback runs that are now being chastised. But this is a part of the football game. Like you're going to run Bash, right? We explained Bash on the show that doesn't have the best audio, but again, Bash is back away. And I have some of those clips cut up, meaning the back is going to run away from the two pullers, which is going to drag the linebackers and draw the eyes of the linebackers away from those two pullers, further confusing them. And then you hand the football off, or you don't hand the football off, depending on what the defense is doing. You keep it. If you do keep it, if you're Jaxson Dart, you run behind two extra gaps to the play side. And it worked every time the Giants ran it, including the one that Jaxson Dart unfortunately fumbled the football on. And then you also had the fake toss quarterback counter. So I liked those adjustments to attack laterally, which the Giants defense know full well because they get attacked laterally all the time against every single one of those opponents. And then from a passing perspective, Jaxson Dart was making plays, man, play after play, just high level throws. I can't, I don't even know if I can articulate how impressed I am with his overall arm talent. Now, it wasn't perfect on every single throw. Like there were some that he put into the deck, like the one out to the flat, but he bailed this offense out and put it on his back. And this was a true elite performance in a hostile environment, in a cold weather situation by Jaxson Dart. I have a lot of those clips dialed up. I can't wait to go over them because it was very impressive, but unfortunately we saw what happened. He ends up getting the concussion. Russell Wilson comes into the football game and the offense turns into a pumpkin and the Giants lose.
Yeah, I mean, look, Nick, I've gone through a lot of different game film this year. We started a new show over at CBS Sports, Beyond the Box Score. Check it out if you like, with me and Jacob Gibbs. And big part of it is just breaking down film. And I've seen a lot of different head coaches and offensive coordinators not be able to find a solution all game for an opposing defensive coordinator or an opposing defense. So when I know the difference between coaches that can figure out the chess match in a given game and those that can't. And I know that it was possible, given the personnel the Giants are working with wide receiver, to just have a game where they couldn't move the ball. That was basically what it was last week against Robert Salah, let's be honest. But that wasn't the case. It was the total opposite in this game. Even early on, when you had Wandale, when they had when they were predicting the defense correctly and getting those easy little outlet passes to Wandale and those quick outs to solve 7-8 yards, which they leaned on a couple times. Now, some of it was, like you said, Jaxson Dart. I want to make that clear. That'll be a big debate and discussion point rest of season, this offseason, during the head coach search. Like, how much of what Dart found success with in his rookie year was him doing it on his own, either out of structure, like we talked about, the throw to Theo, or even just like the backside digs to Slayton and Wandell. That's not technically out of structure, but it kind of is. It's him going beyond what was drawn up as the first read or design of the play, specifically on the bootleg that was supposed to go to Theo, and finding a solution. And that wasn't it. Like, as I pointed out a couple out on Twitter and then put them all up there were multiple times where you'd see Dart drop back, get the snap, look to the plate, the side where he was designed to go, the first read, come off of it fast and come back to the other side. He hit Slayton on a little 7-yard stop route on the backside of a play at one point. It wasn't just those backside digs that we mentioned. So a lot of it is Jaxson Dart, honestly, individually, which is exciting and cool to think about. But I did feel like Stable found a lot of solutions against Dennis Allen's defense.
Absolutely. Whenever the Giants were able to identify cover 3, they attacked it with a stack towards either the boundary of the field, but the boundary stack, let's say, with Theo Johnson running a vert, Wandell Robinson being the guy off the line of scrimmage, following the stem of Theo Johnson and then releasing outward. And that put the curl flat defender in this spot where he has to either undercut or flow over the top of Theo Johnson's release. And it was easy money because the deep third defender is going to maintain his depth because of Theo Johnson's presence. So the Giants hit that, I think, 3 times in some high leverage situations. Just, okay, they're going to be in cover 3 here. They're going to be in cover 3. If they're not, we're going to possibly have something to the backside. And Dart, man, to his credit, they're just his ability to quickly, okay, it's not what we thought it was. Right. Let me find another solution. That's
the craziest part about his rookie season, for sure.
I know, it's so quick, man. Like I have not seen that from a Giants quarterback since I've covered this professionally. Just how it's like, okay, we have this play design. Okay, it's not there. Where's the other one? Now I can use my legs behind the line of scrimmage. Right. Okay, I have an alley. Now let me use my legs to pick up yardage. And there's just like all of these options. And he's so effortlessly kind of flows through these options in his mind while having the spatial awareness about him to understand where the defenders are and where his blockers are. I'm impressed. I'm very impressed with Jaxson Dart. You saw Dennis Allen devise unique blitzes against the Giants, and Dart found solutions a lot of the time, other than the fact that the protection didn't really pick up exactly what was happening. Jermaine Illuminor play. And I think with that play specifically, and I don't know for a fact, but we'll break it down a little later. I see Jermaine Illuminor before the play give his hand signal, like kick out to Theo Johnson, and Theo Johnson levels 91 because Theo Johnson's an exceptional blocker. I don't think 91, I think it was 91, the Chicago Bears defensive lineman. I don't think he expected Theo Johnson to hit him because he saw the hand thing, and then he goes upfield and Theo Johnson decleats him because Jermaine Illuminor thought he was going to take that player, and then Theo was going to kick out towards the other one. Not 100% sure of that. That's my interpretation of it. There are people who are much smarter than I am when it comes to breaking down specifically offensive line tape, like the Duke Manyweathers and people like that, protection. But that was one where Dart thought the protection was set and it wasn't. So, and the only reason why I say that again is because that hand signal. So, but man, there were other plays against the blitz where Dart saw it fall out of his hands. It's like, damn, dude, that's impressive.
His processing is by far and away the most impressive aspect of his rookie season, despite the fact that there are so many other aspects of his rookie season that have been impressive. Like the best throw we'll see on tape today, and you're going to see all of this, by the way, like everything we're talking about, like Nick has the angles. I also have some good angles. If Nick's tape doesn't cover it, we get different tape from different sources of, you can just watch Dart's eyes as he works through progression. The first backside dig to Slayton, he works all the way from the play side to watching the drag route come across, not liking that, and then understanding like it's probably the 4th read in his progression, honestly, that Slayton backside dig. It's pretty insane to watch, but you could just see the speed at which he works through his reads. That's impressive. But then it's also just like some of this ability is kind of crazy, man. Like the throw he made to Theo Johnson after he breaks pocket and is rolling right, that baseball-esque throw. And the same thing with the Slayton throw. Like these are just like insane ability to from an arm talent standpoint. I know it's been discussed that Jaxson Dart maybe doesn't have the greatest arm talent. I don't think he has a Justin Herbert, Josh Allen arm. I don't even really think he has Caleb Williams' arm, having just watched Caleb on tape when it comes to just driving the football.
The driving, yes.
The driving ability. And maybe that will impact him on some of the deeper throws. Like the Slayton conversion that he made, it wasn't the best throw. It was a fine throw. It got to Slayton, but I think we can both agree, Nick, like Justin Herbert or some of these like elite arms are probably going to lead him in stride for a touchdown there. The ball kind of hung a little bit, was a little underthrown. Still fine. Like it's still a catchable ball. It could be way worse. We've seen way worse, and other teams get way worse, like Bo Nix type style on the deep path. Those types of throws that are just nowhere near the target. But then on those kind of like 3/4 throws like the Theo one where he's kind of rolling on the move, I think that's where his arm talent actually borders on pretty good to elite. Now, again, I'm not saying he has elite arm talent. I'm not saying when he's just in the pocket on those deep vertical throws, it's elite. But again, on those like rolling out throws, the one to Theo rolling right, and then also the one to Wandell, the other backside dig, where like he's just has to like rolling to his left square. He does such a good job, in my opinion, Nick, of flipping his hips and squaring his shoulders before making those throws when he's rolling to his left in such a bang, 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 quick fashion. And then he's able to drive the ball. And then I also saw more examples, Nick, on this game of quick game concepts where he started to find a rhythm. And he was starting to like catch the snap, understand where he wants to go with the football, align his feet, and drive the ball with velocity, like we've been showing on tape over these last few weeks. And when he starts to really connect everything, the feet and the base and throw, he can really drive the football in those tight areas, which I think is going to help the Giants over time. So just the physical tools are really impressive, better than I expected. The mental is way better than anyone could have expected. This was his best game, in my opinion, as a pure passer in the first half.
I agree. And there's a certain fluidity about him because he moves so much behind the line of scrimmage in the pocket. He has to square his shoulder because he'll roll opposite of his throwing arm, and he'll have to like flip his hips, get his shoulders square, and just drive it. And a lot of the times his feet are not set. He's on the move when he's doing this with defenders who are in his area, and he does that very fluidly. And he's able to get that football to where it needs to go in a prompt manner to beat the coverage. Like even that 11-yard catch to Wandale Robinson, where he just zips that off play action from under center. He zips that, and there's an underneath defender because there is a route in the flat, and then there's somebody over top. That ball needs to get there in a timely fashion. He needs to be decisive with that delivery, and he was. So again, we'll go over a lot of these plays that we're discussing, but very impressed.
It's with crazy.
Dart. The rushing attack of the Giants just absolutely stymied until really, other than the Jaxson quarterback Dart runs, until Dart ended up going down. And then the Giants were able to find some creases. I feel like the Giants took advantage of the aggressive nature of the Bears because the Bears were the entire game. The Bears run defense, they were just in every gap whenever that's why some of these play action passes worked. And that's why Dan and I said after the game, it's like, dude, stop running it on 1st and 10 and second, like hit some play actions from under center. I know it's difficult because it's not necessarily what this team does, but you got to try something different because you're not getting anything on the ground. The Bears are not capitulating anything, right? Like Tremaine Edmonds, he was in the gap right when like Tyrone Tracy Jr. or Devin Singletary had the ball. And it's like these running backs can't do anything in this situation. So I felt like Dable and Kafka did a good job altering on that 3rd drive to try to spark something for the Giants offense. But I was impressed because they had basically, the Bears had like 2-2 techniques and then 2-6 techniques when the Giants weren't even. The Giants weren't even more than they were. And what I mean by even is like a 2x2 set. They didn't roll out as many 3x1 sets in this game. And again, the personnel usage from the Giants, I think it was 12 personnel, like 71% of the time or something. Like they
have to live there. They have to live there.
Yeah, with Daniel Bellinger, absolutely, right? So, and those linebackers were so damn quick to penetrate, and you had some stunts, some run stunts up front too, to free up some of the Bears edge rushers to the inside to clog up the B gap. So I felt like Dennis Allen did a good job against the run, but that's one of the reasons why the play action, and this is what I love, and I wanted to tie this all in together with Jaxson Dart. It's like Jaxson Dart was not in a comfortable situation. This guy is a shotgun-based quarterback. He was a shotgun-based quarterback his entire time at Ole Miss. He's not an under center type of guy, and he's still able to move the football and probably have his best game in that environment without Malik Neighbors, without Cam Scatterby, without a rushing attack. That's just applause, applause.
It's very exciting because they asked him to do different things and he was comfortable, and he's at least shown he's been comfortable with getting him under center, having him operate the play action pass. And you mentioned this on last night's podcast, Nick. So once you mentioned it, I had it in my mind and I wanted to look for it when I watched the tape. But I do agree that like this is something, Greg Cosell talks about a lot. Like when these quarterbacks are under center, operating the play action passing game from under center, are they able to flip their hips around? Are they able to have the footwork look good and operate? Because if you're clunky with your footwork or you're slow getting back out of the play action out of your drop, you're going to get sacked. And there was one play where the Giants did get sacked. They got burned by running a play action from under center. But outside of that, I thought he did a great job. Even on that, it was fine. The pocket just kind of condensed on him. But outside of that, I thought he did a great job of operating the play action pass game in the sense just that those fundamental areas of operating a play action game as a quarterback. Are you able to flip your hips back around? Are you able to turn your head around, snap it around fast? Are your feet working together with everything else? And he did a good job of that.
Yeah, and the Giants coaching to their credit too. Like they 4th and 1, quarter 3, 7:36 left. They had a naked bootleg with a pin pull. So you had because the Bears went out with I think it was like a 4-eye.
That was a great call.
4-eye, and then you had somebody outside, and you had Andrew Thomas block the
Cut
4-eye
block,
down, and they just pulled around the
Such a
guard
good-
to cut, and then Dart. Yeah, like I love little adjustments like that. You had offensive tackle wrap plays where you bring the backside offensive tackle to a lead block. That was on the second drive, but again, the Bears were just stymieing that. Giants found some success when they attempted pistol runs, but really not that much. A lot of zone runs as well, but overall, man, Dart put the team on his back, and the Giants did enough, at least offensively, to win that football game. But the Giants are the Giants, and they find ways to comically lose football games, and that's one of the many reasons why Brian Daboll is not the head coach right now.
But it is a good point, though, by you, Nick. Like, more so maybe than any other game, I'd say. Yeah, more so than any other win this season. Or, sorry, that's not a win. They should have won this game.
Yeah.
They really should. Watching the tape, it's like so clear. Watching this drive by drive, seeing how stupid they were to lose that game. Even they got a 4th down stop, like late in the game, dude. Like a 4th and 3, where they like, that should have been it. Like the game should have been literally over after that. But it wasn't. But yeah, what was I gonna say? Where was that going? Oh, yeah, he just really, in a lot of ways, put the team on his back. Like, I'll give Wan'Dale credit for some big catches, Slayton for some catches early, and then Theo, which is the big one. He had the best game of his career by far as a Giant. He had a huge block on that effort block on that Singletary long catch and run at the end of the game, in addition to all the catches he made. So outside of Theo, though, like, and some catches from those two, like I mentioned, Wan'Dale and Slayton, there really wasn't much else to the Giants offense. And obviously, let me be clear, because I don't always say this, but it's very important to say, Andrew Thomas, who without him, none of this is possible.
I agree, man. I agree. Andrew Thomas is an absolute stud. And Theo, 7 of 8 for 75 yards.
Best game.
Impressive. Wan'Dale caught 6 of 11 for 62. Not as efficient, but still made some big plays. And it sucks, man. Like, you look at, if you want to like chastise the offense and say, man, if the Giants did something a little bit different here, it would be different. Like the best drive, arguably, of course, but the best drive the Giants had might have been a drive where they didn't even score. Right. And I know they were aided by the roughing the passer penalty, but it was the drive where, look, man, the Giants hit this big run and it gets called back because of Daniel Bellinger blocking the back, and the Giants don't really want to kick the field goal, get put in a 3rd and 3, and they get put in a 4th and 1, and they run the play action, and Dart has somebody going right at him. He puts a very catchable ball out to Daniel Bellinger, and he gets wrestled away from him in the end zone. It's like, that might have been one of their best drives. They didn't even come away with points on that drive.
Greg Olsen was a little critical of Bellinger on that drive on the broadcast, not chipping and releasing. And
he wanted the chip and release, but even regardless of that, and look, like Bellinger was at fault in that he had the block in the back. It was a block in the back. It negated a big run by Jaxson Dart, and then he didn't hang on to the football. You got to hang on to the football. He'd probably be the first.
It's a tough
person.
catch, but
but it's in your hands, and it was well placed too by the it was double coverage. So again, tough, but the throw was in a position to where he could get both of his hands on it. And it was just an excellent play by, I think it was either CJ Gardner-Johnson or Jaquan Brisker to wrestle that football away from him. And it's like, damn it, man, if they came away with points there, that would have been something, because there were a lot of high level plays from Jaxson Dart on that drive specifically.
Yeah. And that was that. You're very right about that. And that's, I mean, this is a classic Giants game, right? Where we look back, Nick, and we say, if they'd scored on that drive, or if Jaxson Dart doesn't fumble, because we're rolling on that drive too. And the fumble play 70 yards. Yeah. And then, or just like kicking a field goal from the half-yard line, which again, I'll just personally never get behind. And that's taking 4 points off the board. But it's how the Giants are and have been or were under Daboll. It's a big reason why he was fired today. But I did want to point that out because, Jaxson Dart definitely put the team on his back, especially in that first half. We also got a 2-minute drill that was really successful by Jaxson Dart. This is his first big-time 2-minute drill, right? At the end of the first half, he's hitting monster throws. The Theo outside the numbers, the Theo seam ball goes right back. The seam ball is maybe 3-4 inches too low from being another touchdown. I said it on Twitter, Nick. I joked about it, but at this point, the Giants have just so mismanaged this wide receiver situation that they just have like no dudes out there to win one-on-ones in these. So like that drive bogged down to a field goal simply because of that. I said it on Twitter, Nick. I kind of would have rather the Giants just spam Theo 4 times there. F it. Just spam him 4 times in a row. Like, he already made the first seam ball he made, that was an amazing catch. I think that was the best catch of his career. It was a great throw by Dart. He was decisive with it. He put it back shoulder. He dotted it, but he threw him into a safety. Like the safety did a good job dropping off that coverage and coming in. And it was a tough catch. Like Theo had to concentrate not only to catch this ball back shoulder, but then to take a hit that he knows he's going to take and still make the catch, which he did. And after that, he was about to make another play. It was just a little slightly underthrown. I would have just spammed it 4 times, or at least like Bellinger. There's no one to go to besides those two, I feel, in the red zone. Like, I just don't feel like you can throw the ball to Gunner, who didn't even wasn't on the same page as Dart on that near interception, or Wandale. You gotta think of something there if you're the Giants.
Yeah, and there were two throws back to back to Gunnar Olszewski on the second.
You can't do it. You can't do it in the red zone.
No, you can't. You can't have that. And
you want to run them on a whip route, fine, but that's it. Sorry.
Yeah, no, 100%, dude. And it does suck. The Giants only came away with a field goal on that drive, but that was again that was a 2-minute drive where Dart put the team on his back. And you're right, Theo Johnson. This is like why we got excited about the Theo Johnson draft pick. And then again, he's still somewhat of a frustrating player, but if he plays more consistently and he can do that along with the blocking that he has and the effort that he shows when he does block.
Right.
You're talking about a good starting tight end, but
at least a good. Well, no, if it was this version, I would even take that a step further. If it was that version as an offensive player with everything else, or I'm sorry, as a receiver with what you mentioned as a blocker and his size and frame, that's more than a good player. If you
that's
look
a
around
top 5 tight end in the league.
Yeah, there's just no good players at tight end in the NFL. There are at least two-way guys like that. But obviously, he would have to be this good of a receiver, which we've never seen in his career until this game. So let me make that clear. This is likely an aberration as a receiver, potentially, or it's just a young player developing. We don't know. I'm hoping it's the latter for once in our freaking lives, Nick, where we could just get the actual good side of that.
I couldn't agree more, man. I couldn't agree more. Some other notes before we get into the film, man. I felt like the Giants running backs were nice in pass protection.
Yep.
Both of them. Tyrone Tracy Jr., Devin Singletary. They had great identification and just the execution on their blocks was high level. So I wanted to praise them both for that because they really just couldn't get anything going on the ground. And then Singletary, his play up the sideline on that 3rd and 1 by Russell Wilson, making Russell Wilson's stats look, adequate.
So much better than what they should.
So much better than what they should. It was the block. First off, he made the first guy, miss, right?
Yep.
And then the Theo block, and then there was another player, and it might have been the Theo blocked player who dove at Singletary's feet, and Singletary full speed just did a little hop over it, like he was running hurdles on a track. And I was like, that is such impressive balance and understanding of where the threats are. And again, Singletary to me is a very, very underrated player on this team, albeit not one that really has the ceiling that a lot of people gravitate towards when it comes to fans. We want that flashy type of player. Sure. He's not that, but he's just a good football player.
Yeah, you're right. And we've been saying that forever. There's some players who are just, when you watch what we do and you watch these hours and hours of tape, you just gravitate towards because they're better on tape than what their reputation is or what the stats show. He's definitely one of those players for sure.
There are a few other notes I have too. First off, I say Russ just looked lost. Looked lost.
No, he's done.
There, dude. Just
cooked.
Yeah, there's no way the Giants can roll him out there as a second.
I don't think they will. Yeah.
No, I don't think they will either. The one play where he reared back the pass and it was a 2-man route concept, Theo up the seam, Darius Slayton running a quick hitch, and the curl flat flowed more towards Slayton. He was going to fire it to Slayton, so he rears back and he sees a curl flat flow horizontally, and then he just tucks it and starts running. It's but with that curl flat defender flowing horizontally, you have Theo Johnson in the progression who's coming open. And he's just I was like, well, why didn't he, put that together? Why is he so panicked back there?
He's not. You're right. He is weirdly panicked. You would think that he wouldn't be panicked and Dart would. Dart's the rookie, right? That's the expectation that 100 out of 99 out of 100 times is the case, but it's the opposite, weirdly enough.
It is. It definitely seems that way. And also there, I don't know, there were other plays where I just said too much standing around when the whistle hasn't blown yet.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I don't want to look, the 3rd and 1 play or the 3rd and 3 play on the goal line with Russell Wilson where he attempted to be Jaxson Dart and run in. I understand that at this point, you don't know what's going on behind you if you're Jermaine Illuminor and Greg Van Roten.
Yeah, I know. I know what you're saying.
But there was 2 blockers on one guy, and he ended up making the tackle.
Let him go,
yeah. And I get that. Look, you don't know if the ball's been released. You're looking at other threats. You're trying to scan everything. But the optics of that, they're not great. They're not great that you allowed that defender to come off that block, the double team block. That was my interpretation of it. Yeah. And I love those players, and those players, I ain't questioning their effort. I get it. I do think if they would look at that, they'd be like, damn, we can't allow that to happen.
I think like they just, as stupid as it sounds, I think they were just like, it's Russell Wilson in the game. Like he's not going to, they've had all these terrible red zone reps with him where he just either throws the ball out of the end zone or misses completely out of receive. So he hasn't really, is that the first time he's tried to run one in? I think
No, I don't think so.
Oh, he's tried a couple others.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
It doesn't
I
really
mean,
work.
it's no excuse really. But that play was just a mess from the start. I was going to say, like you talked about Russell Wilson just looking panicked, not seeing the field well. Between the 20s in the red zone, dude, it's like he's unplayably bad in the red zone. He has no speed to make that run in. First of all, he can't scramble anymore. He has no vision at all. Like you could have hit Bellinger on that play. You could have just thrown it to him by the pylon. He might have caught that for a touchdown. He might have been short. It doesn't matter. At least you get it out. And then there was a crossing route at the end, which again would have been a tough throw, but you throw it to the back right pylon. Maybe you lead the receiver for a touchdown. He's just like standing panicked and then like just runs so slowly trying to score. Agreed. Like those two it should have been a touchdown. Like you're right. Like the two Giants linemen should have just blocked Jervin Dexter or whatever out of the play. Yeah. But and then like he would have ran it in. But like Russ just is like at the very least the Giants should never play him another red zone series if it's like make like just bringing Jameis for red zone. But obviously ultimately like Jameis should be the player, but behind Jaxson Dart.
And there's no question about that either.
Yeah, there's no question about it. No, unfortunately. Hopefully the Giants see it that way. And hopefully Mike Kafka sees it that way because he's now the interim coach. And we don't know, but there's a good chance, I'd say, at the very least, that Jaxson Dart won't be ready to go from the concussion protocol, Nick. So we'll have to see what happens as we move forward through this game and through this week. Anything? I'm just trying to think there's something else in the offense. There's stuff I want to talk about with you offensively, but I want to save it for like an off season or like future type mailbag type pod. Like I do want to get to the bottom of this run game and why it is just so dead in the water without Scadaboo, and then how that impacts them moving forward since Scadaboo is expected to be like full recovery for a training camp. But let's save that for another day, another time, and we'll see if Kaf can do anything with the run game in between now and then.
Underwear is one of those things we all wear every day, but almost never think about. For years, I stuck with the same old brands, the kind that bunch up, lose shape, and start riding up by lunchtime. And then I found out about Skims, and they're making underwear for men. And honestly, I was curious. My female friends would rave about Skims, and they were always obsessed about it. And I was like, well, what is this whole thing? So I tried the Skims Stretch 5-inch boxer brief. And guys, it's a game changer. The fit is unreal. They stay put right at the thigh, don't bunch, don't bag out, and somehow still feel lightweight. I wear them to the gym, to the office, even on travel days, and they never lose their shape. It's the kind of comfort that actually makes you feel more confident walking around. So if you're ready to upgrade your top drawer, shop Skims Men at skims.com. And when you place your order, make sure to select podcast in the survey and choose Big Blue Banter from the drop down to let them know we sent you. And hey, if you're shopping for the holidays, the Skims Holiday Shop is open now at skims.com. Trust me, these make amazing gifts. Every year around the holidays, I've got that one relative who's impossible to shop for. I've done the sweaters, I've done the gift cards, none of it hits. But that one thing that's always a win, food. Everyone eats, and nothing says holiday love like a perfectly cooked steak. That's why this year I'm going with Omaha Steaks. From holiday hosting to unforgettable gifts, Omaha Steaks delivers the world's best steak experience. You can gift family and friends USDA certified tender steaks, juicy burgers, comfort meals, and so much more. And right now, during their Sizzle All the Way sale, you can get 50% off site-wide at omahasteaks.com. Plus, our listeners get an extra $35 off when you use promo code BANTER at checkout. I've actually had Omaha Steaks delivered before, and the quality is unreal. Perfectly aged, hand cut by master butchers, and every bite tastes like it came straight out of a steakhouse. It's holiday magic made easy, and if you order by 6 p.m. Eastern, it ships the same day. So don't overthink this gift this year. Save big on gourmet gifts and more holiday favorites with Omaha Steaks. Visit omahasteaks.com, get 50% off site-wide during their Sizzle All the Way sale, and use code BANTER for the extra $35 off. That's omahasteaks.com. Code BANTER.
Let's go into some play breakdowns because we're gonna have a lot to do. Like you'll see as we move forward, fans of the show, and as you're watching right now, this is gonna be a wax poetic episode about Jaxson Dart. If Nick doesn't hit it, I'm hitting all of it because I got cut-ups for days here of Jaxson Dart.
Yeah, let's do it, man. First play I want to highlight is 2nd and 11, quarter one, 11:40 left. This is that 7 route on the first drive to Theo Johnson. Just another anticipatory pass. This is one that we didn't even mention because it's just, we come to expect this, right? It's man-to-man coverage. You just attack it and you trust that your receiver is going to beat it, but you're going to throw it before he comes out of that break to maximize that opportunity. You see Jaxson Dart hit his back foot. Theo Johnson's not out of the break yet, and he's firing that football. He fires the football. Theo turns around. Great concentration by Theo Johnson, and the location of this pass is to the outside, well away from the leverage of the defender after the break. And you can see right here, just allows Theo Johnson to extend, make the catch, first down. Like just simple things, but high-level things that we haven't always seen. And it's great to see a rookie quarterback perform this way, just being on time and in rhythm. Now here's a 3rd and 12, 10-12 left in the first quarter. So same drive.
Lost you for a little bit there, Nick, but I did want to make one comment on that first throw that you discussed because it was a really underrated throw in Jaxson Dart's game. And it wasn't even one I cut up. I think it's just like for years we've talked about the importance of ball placement for the Giants offense. This is why. Look at that ball. Look at where the ball is placed. It's outside, away from the defender, allowing the receiver to outstretch his arms and make a hands catch. If you place this ball anywhere else, really, and the anticipation part of it's cool too, but if you place this ball anywhere else, it's not a catch. Like this is the little stuff we talk about, right? And we've seen so many of these plays, not just us, for all teams over the years, be blamed on the receiver when the ball placement was more inside.
Mm-hmm.
When, the reality is if you put the ball where it's supposed to be, there's no one to blame because it will be a catch.
Absolutely. And look at the pre-snap. You have Theo Johnson. He's hand in the deck, wide tight end. 35 is going to be the player in man coverage, which is discerned right after the snap. You can already see right here, if you're watching on YouTube, that Theo Johnson has a little bit of outside leverage. Then you stem to the outside as well, angle to the outside, and then you initiate that contact on the outside portion of the defensive back, and then you do that just a little subtle little flipper move just to create it. And you can see the defensive back's in good coverage, but a good throw is going to defeat good coverage, especially when it's well-timed. And that's exactly what happened on this 2nd and 11 play.
Way to break that down. You're 100% right.
Now we're going to have a 3rd and 12, and this is just, look, the Giants don't convert this, but it's Jaxson Dart getting rid of the football so quickly. And I wonder if he knew he was about to get clobbered by Tremaine Edmonds because the Giants did not pick it up. It's not enough for the first down, but it sets up at least a 4th down opportunity at midfield. And it's just one of those things, man, that there were protection issues. I felt like Dennis Allen did a great job, hitting Carmen Brasillo and the protection with a couple crosses, a couple jabs. Giants picked it up a few times. Like I said earlier, I felt like the Giants running backs did a good job in protection, but there were wasted blockers created because of Dennis Allen and the blitz and the blitzing packages of the Chicago Bears. And on this one, you can see there's 2 guys standing around because you're going to send 50 right at the guard. You're going to force Andrew Thomas to kick out. And what is that? Exploit the B gap. You blitz Tremaine Edmonds. I'm wondering if Jaxson Dart knew this. It seems like he did because he just fires the football right before he gets hit. Excellent play. Does not get the first down, but it sets up a 4th and manageable.
Yep.
Now, here is that play, 4th and 2. Don't love it. It's a half field read. This is supposed to be a bang bang. You motion Wan'Dale Robinson from a 3-by-1 to a 2-by-2. You snap the football, and it's supposed to be football out at this moment. And you can see from this perspective, it looks like, Wan'Dale's wide open, fire the football, right? Because Darius Slayton is drawing both of the defenders wide, but you have that underneath defender. You have that linebacker Sewell right there. And I'm imagining from Jaxson Dart's perspective, which we can't even really see on the end zone copy, it doesn't look like Wan'Dale Robinson is open, and there's really not a lot of space there. So I think that's why he didn't throw the football, and he ends up just taking the sack. What was your input on? Like you can't really see.
My dad was pissed. My dad was like, "Oh, Jaxson Dart missed this one." But I see what you're saying with 44 creeping. Like Dart sees him and he knows there's really, I don't even know how he would be able to get that ball. Because you could say like, oh, he can throw one of those like touch passes he threw to Theo a couple weeks ago on that 3rd and 12. But there's a defender right behind Wan'Dale. That'll be intercepted like every time.
Yeah, and there's just not a lot of space to do that. And
right.
This is what, like, look, these plays are called by a lot of different offensive coordinators and head coaches.
Yeah, we've run this a lot.
But this is designed for Wan'Dale. But the Bears played it so well because you have Sewell, who's on Singletary, and then he just matches Singletary, sees what's going on, and then just positions himself in the throwing lane while matching Dart and then containing and boxing Dart back to the inside. It's a great individual play by that Bears linebacker.
You're spot on with that.
And the Giants, look, I don't think it's as open as some have led or some have suggested. But Giants do not
agree with you on that.
So here is a 5:09 left in the first quarter. Jaxson Dart just gets clobbered. 2nd and 10. It's a missed blocking assignment. It's the one that we brought up a little bit earlier. It looks like, and you'll see it from the end zone angle. Jermaine Illuminor pushes. You see his hand out. And I'm imagining that's him telling Theo Johnson, kick out to take that blitzer if that blitzer comes, right? And then you see 72, Jermaine Illuminor looks at 44. It's not blitzing. So now I'm going to get 91. Theo Johnson just eliminates 91. Excellent block by Theo Johnson, but watch 91. 91, I think, believes that the protection is doing what the protection should do, and that's kick out to the extra defender. And you can see Jermaine Illuminor is like, oh, and he doesn't even pay attention to 35. I think that was supposed to be Theo Johnson's guy. If that's
seems like it.
That, again, not 100% sure, but that's my take. And then Devin Singletary right here, that's just great blitz pickup on Tremaine Edmonds. Just hits him low, uproots him, but Dart gets sacked. Got to be dialed in, man. Protection standpoint, there were a few plays like that where free rushers were available. And here's this is a great throw by Jaxson Dart, but it's more so an amazing catch by Darius Slayton. And it's great coverage too. But when you have great coverage, put it to the outside and allow your receiver to at least have an opportunity to come down with the football. And that's exactly what Dart does here. Dart fires this football. Only Darius Slayton can get that. There's three Bears defenders in the area, and the Bears cornerback is in excellent coverage on Slayton. Slayton does such a good job adjusting to this and then just hauling it in with one hand. But that is a high-level throw still, because it's a dead play to that side, and you're giving your receiver an opportunity to just make a play. Imagine if that was Malik Neighbors. We'd be able to do that much more often. Slayton is not Malik Neighbors, but still, this is an excellent play by Slayton, who played well overall in this game.
Yeah, he had his best game of the year too.
The injury. Here's another play. This is the very next play, right? This is the first play of the second quarter, 1st and 10 under center. Play action. Get that. This is the play, dude. It's funny. We've brought up this play so many times where it's that half field read where the Giants run a deep inward leaning route that then stems outward, and it's a corner. You bring the backside to be the intermediate, which the Giants do, and then you have someone in the flat to hold the defender in place. Now you have that 2-level read that you're really looking to attack, but you can see how the Bears play it. Slayton does a good job leaning inward. And Slayton, there's excellent timing by Darius Slayton here. If you look at how 29 angles this, right? 29's opening up. You have the cover 3 look. You want to sell and get 29 to go inside with you, because that will open up the backside cross. But Slayton gets up on his toes and then forces 29 to over pursue. He lost his leverage, 29 here. And then Darius Slayton's like, all right, bet you're going to do that. I'm going to go right back out, and there's no one outside the numbers. And that's really poor technique by the Bears defender, but also a great route by Darius Slayton. And Jaxson Dart recognized it, because here you think maybe Jaxson Dart will hit the cross because he sees how far 29 is getting sucked to the inside. But no, he keeps his eyes on Slayton, sees that leverage, perceives that leverage, and then attacks that leverage. That's a great play by Dart too. Even though the throw was not great, you're right, it was not. But still, the processing behind it was there.
That's a great point. And as far as the throw not being great, this is the example I brought up earlier as far as the deep pass. I will say this, to Dart's credit, he didn't really have an area to step into on the throw. You could see it from the end zone angle there. Like this, he was getting back, Jermaine Illuminor, or was that Illuminor? Either Illuminor or the right guard was getting, Van Roten was getting backed up.
It was Illuminor, but it was a weird pass set, as you'll see, because the Theo Johnson goes across the formation to sell the split zone look. And then you can see in doing that, Jermaine Illuminor is not able to actually go into a pass set with his outside leg. So he has to kind of completely flip his hips and then cut that angle off. And luckily, because it was a run fake, 98 is patient with it, and he doesn't just storm up the arc, because if he did, Jaxson Dart would have got nailed.
Correct. But even as you can see, like the final result is he doesn't really have a full lane to step into this throw. And I will say this, as far as that throw goes, it was very similar to the one he made last week to Slayton that Slayton dropped in the end zone. So I do believe he still has the arm talent to do it if he can just step into and drive the throw. As far as just like being able to do that, though, without stepping into it, he's not Herbert. He's not Josh Allen. Those are the guys who can do those types of throws, and he's just not that, and that's fine.
Yeah, man. So here we're going to have a backside dig, man. Backside dig. You got cover 2, Darius Slayton. Watch Dart's eye to the front side. Doesn't like it. And then the touch and the ability to get to the backside dig. And you can see it from the end zone copy, man. Just, I'm watching. All right. So I found it. You can see his eyes just scanning. He sees the safeties, drop the depth. He has those underneath defenders occupied with Daniel Bellinger's drag route. And then he puts enough to, like, dude, that's just barely enough touch to get over not just 94 Booker's hand, but also Sewell's hand, and to Darius Slayton, while also being a very catchable ball too.
Yep, throws a catchable ball, always does, because he throws great trajectory. That ball goes up and down, over the top. Everything about that play is so good. It's one of my favorite plays of the game from Jaxson Dart, that backside dig. One, as you mentioned, like everything you mentioned.
Too, by the way.
I'm sorry?
That was on a 3rd and 6 too.
Yeah, third down conversion. Jaxson Dart so far this season, Nick, is number 1 in the NFL among all quarterbacks, not among all rookies. Number 1 in the NFL in EPA on third downs. He's been so lights out on third downs. It's pretty insane. But again, like you said, like he's also about to get hit when he makes the throw, and he knows that. He still makes the throw, gets it up and down over the top. But look, the reality is, like, the key to this play is that he was able to go from the front side, work all the way through his regression, checking every step of the way, and still be able to hit that backside dig on time. You know how hard that is to do? Like, we don't really see this much from NFL quarterbacks, let alone rookie quarterbacks. It's true, though. Like, I watch a lot of tape for Beyond the Box, so I don't see a lot of backside digs.
It's a Matt Stafford play. That's what it's called.
Those are the guys, like the only guys who do it. Him and Herbert are like the only ones. Jordan Love sometimes. At most, I mean, some of these often they don't need it from Josh Allen. They don't need it from some of these other players, but like Mahomes does it sometimes, obviously, too. They all do it to an extent, but Dart's done it way more than we've become accustomed to.
And again, another part of this play I want to acknowledge is this is not a cover 2 look pre-snap.
Yeah.
This is a middle of the field close look, and then you have safety rotations. He sees the safety rotations. You have a smash to the front side of the play with 3-by-1 set, drag the number 3 receiver, Daniel Bellinger, underneath to occupy the linebackers. And he sees, like right now, as you're watching this, as he catches the ball, he sees the rotations, processing it, doesn't love that. Let me find the back. Okay, the backside's there. Under pressure, makes the throw, 3rd and 6 conversion.
Crazy.
High-level quarterbacking right there from Jaxson Dart.
Yeah. From a processing standpoint, this is as good as it gets.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, man. This is good as it gets for a 6-year veteran, not a rookie.
And I like this too. This is the I think this is the next 3rd down, right? Or no, this is the very next play. I'm sorry. 1st and 10. You have under center, I formation. You're going to go out like that with the offset, and you're going to hit play action. And I love this release by Wan'Dale Robinson. Again, taking advantage of the Bears being a little bit over aggressive and a little bit relaxed with their leverage, right? So you want to play high and over top of me. Wan'Dale's going to release to the inside, and that's just a smooth move to get the defender to surrender the outside leverage that he had pre-snap. And then look, he's wide open. And this is just a dart. That's a perfectly placed ball. It has to be fired on a line over a defender with another defender leaning in. And I absolutely appreciate that from Dart, man.
Yeah, I put this one up too as well. And we could play yours, but I'm going to remove mine from studio. Just go back to that end zone angle real quick. I think this is a good example of something I've talked about on this podcast a few times. When Dart is able to make these throws in rhythm from within the pocket, look at how good it is from a footwork standpoint and from getting his shoulders and square to the target, driving the ball. And when he does this, the ball does come out with a lot of velocity. Like, this ball actually gets in there with some good velo.
Yeah, absolutely. It's thrown on a rope. Love Dart's eyes too on it. We can watch that from the end zone angle. He's looking at 31, sees the safety go inside. And then you see him kind of hold that safety there. He holds. And then he's like, all right. And then he looks, fires. I'm wondering if he's using that perif to understand what exactly is going on. Here we're going to have a 2nd and 8 throw by Jaxson Dart. Another backside dig, baby. Let's go. You have Wan'Dale Robinson you have another 3-level read. Wan'Dale Robinson runs from the backside, goes over top of the safety, and then it's just Wan'Dale Robinson against a cornerback who is high and outside leverage. No one's really around him. Dart processes it and fires the football for a 1st down.
So there are a lot of debates as to what was the best throw by Jaxson Dart in this game, what was the best play by Jaxson Dart in this game. This one's up in the mix, right? Like, everything about this. We talked about it earlier, but the ability to flip his hips, look how fast he's able to, like, the end of this throw, just before he throws it. He's moving all the way. Then he stops, recenters focus, and rips the ball in there on a backside throw. Like, this is how many quarterbacks when this, I'm sorry, one more thing on this, Nick. How many quarterbacks have you seen watching NFL in your life that when this is not there, this is designed to go to Theo on the boot, they panic. They either throw it at their feet or then they try to scramble left and do something with that. How often do we see the quarterback get to this?
Not very often, because look, the Bears cover it very well to the front side. There's a head-on-head over there, right?
Yeah.
And then Booker has a good angle to contain Jaxson Dart. And then Dart, again, fluidity. This is a play action pass from under center. He sets up. As he's rolling out, he's collecting all the information he needs on the bootleg, the intermediate, and the deep. So he's doing that right now. If you're watching on YouTube, realizes it's not there, sees Booker containing him. So he just quickly, it's like, all right, look over the middle of the field. It's open. Rip the football. Just a phenomenal play by him. Again, backside dig, having that wherewithal. There are so many quarterbacks in this league who are high-level quarterbacks who might even take a sack there, dude. Jaxson Dart, rookie, starting his 7th game, 6th game, whatever the hell it is, and he finds a solution.
And go back real quick to that one more time from the end zone angle. We're going to have to run back some of these because they're that good. Like, this is that good. He also gets a crazy amount of velo on this throw without having his feet fully set here. He does do a good job squaring his shoulders and flipping his hips around, but his feet aren't perfect on this one by any means, but he still is able to rip the ball with that 3/4 baseball-like throw. This is like somebody told me on Twitter, this is like, it reminds him of a shortstop or a third baseman making that throw around. And this is where those baseball skills really come in handy. When you want to talk about arm talent, people are saying, doubting his arm talent, which again, vertically, I understand it. But on some of these intermediate shots like that, he really can rip the football.
Yeah, absolutely, man. For sure. Here is the 25-yard bash run that was called back on that block right there by the Daniel. Daniel Bellinger's a better, smarter player than that. That is a block in the back.
Unfortunately, yeah.
And this was when Dart was making this run, though, he's bouncing off guys and everything. It's just it really is indicative of his toughness. You could see him also help set up the blocks. I love how they wrap the offensive tackle, Andrew Thomas, around to the front side along with the kick out. So you have both of those pullers.
Yep.
On the bash concept, squeaks through vision, timing, spatial awareness, but gets called back, and the Giants don't end up scoring on that because here's the 4th and 1. And it is a great throw, man, because you have a Brisker who's panicking because Bellinger has leverage, and you have a safety over the top in the middle. So the only place to put it is short and in front of Daniel Bellinger, allowing him to turn around and make a back shoulder throw, or maybe you want to call it a front shoulder throw towards the middle of the field. And Bellinger gets his hands on it. It's just a great play by the Bears to wrestle it away. Missed opportunity. And the Giants had a lot of missed opportunities in this game, a lot defensively,
That's end zone angle, man. That ball is just dropped right in.
I know. And it's a great adjustment.
It's a tough catch. It's a great adjustment by Bellinger. It's a tough, he's getting 2 guys on him, and he almost did catch it. It's tough. But that's another example of really good arm talent by Dart when he's not fully squared or set. He does still have that ability to all arms throw it. Here we're getting up to this is like superstar level special.
Yeah, this is superstar level special. 3rd and 3 with 57 seconds left in the first half. And you have Jaxson Dart off balance, just fire a rip into a corner route of Theo Johnson. And Theo does a very good job here. Look, if he stays flat, this defensive player, this linebacker, whoever it is on his hip. Theo Johnson understood that if he angles it upward, since there is nobody else, because you have the crossing pattern and just a safety over top who's not even nearly being like in the area, you extend this upward, you're going to be able to run away from the coverage. And that's exactly what happens here. So great play by Theo Johnson, gets both of his feet in bounds, and just an amazing throw and individual effort from Dart, who you could see, man, Dart has to evade the pressure.
He's come off his first read, first of all, as usual. He does an incredible job of then evade the pressure and then make that throw from that platform. Like, that is where, again, the baseball background is just really helping this dude. And that's an example, by the way, Nick, from this angle, it's just so superstar level. This is a great example of arm talent. Again, we question his arm talent maybe on the vertical plane. I guess I think it'll get better over time. But that is a throw that a lot of quarterbacks cannot make, man. They cannot make a rolling to their right throw because, again, a lot of quarterbacks are over the top throwers. And like, if you're an over the top thrower, there's literally no possible way to make that throw. You have to throw from this crazy arm angle. Like, look at this arm angle he puts this at. This is wild. One more time for the fan. Like, that's insane. And then to dot it, to like put it on the money from a ball placement standpoint from that arm angle, crazy.
Speaking of dots, let's go right here, man.
Back to back.
See me. Look, the Bears are bringing all these unique pressures, right? So you want to load up the line of scrimmage. You got like what? You got 7 guys on the line of scrimmage, 8 guys on the line of scrimmage for the Bears, and they bail out. They bail out to a cover 2, and it's one where the middle of the field is wide open, and Theo Johnson has leverage against that middle linebacker who's just sugar in the A gap. So Jaxson Dart saw all that, and he put the ball right over top of Tremaine Edmonds' head, and Theo Johnson uses his frame. This is just a phenomenal catch by Theo. Like, great job by Theo Johnson to come down with that football.
Yep. Best play of his career, in my opinion, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, it's 21-yard gain and then a 25-yard gain, just back-to-back for the Giants offense in a 2-minute
rhythm dart, just an in-rhythm back shoulder dot with velocity, with confidence, with ball placement.
Yep. No, 100%. And then here's the rushing touchdown for 24 yards by Jaxson Dart. And this is what we were mentioning earlier. This is bash back away. So the back's going to run away from the blocking scheme. Quarterback's going to keep it because 93 is disciplined. And you could see those extra gaps get created. And Dart does a good job. Look, the Bears were wrong arming a lot in this game when the Giants ran this, and it ended up being wrong for them because it spilled everybody outside. But the blockers did a good job to the front side of the play, and then Dart's vision allowed the wide receivers to really maximize their blocks. So you can see on this play, look, wrong arm technique, trying to spill everything outside to Edmonds, but now you have the second block, Jermaine Oluminor. Also, you have a wrong arm, try to spill further outside. 44 does not get there in time, and this move right here, with 44 bearing down, mind you, this little juke inside forces Brisker to put his hips inward, and that allows Wan'Dale Robinson to throw a block against a player who is much bigger than him, and then the end result is a touchdown. That is elite vision. That is elite attention to detail. That is elite rushing nuance from Jaxson Dart there, who was not a running back.
It's elite. Like, here's the thing with Dart, and it's very interesting in my mind.
Bellinger threw a great block.
Great block as well by Bellinger. But this play, let's be honest, is a lot Dart, because as he's you can run it back through as he's breaking, keep going. Right here, that hard right leg forces, and you could see it first with 9 watching his body. He's trying to contain and spill it back inside, but that move forces 9 to go back inside of the block. And that's all it takes at that point, right? If he doesn't make that move and he's just kind of flowing toward the outside, 9 is never going to pop right back inside there and give himself up on the play. And that's going to be a tackle at the 11.
No, 100%. And it's phenomenal by Jaxson Dart. And also, man, like whoever this DB is, I don't know who it is, but he is just the outside, the contained defender.
Yeah.
Daniel Bellinger's taking his lunch money away from him, right? Like at this point, you have to imagine that he's going to tighten up and try to restrict. I guess he probably couldn't
That's
even
what
see.
I'm saying.
Yeah, he couldn't.
I think he sees Dart. I think he sees Dart take that step, or maybe it looks like he can't see. It's hard to say.
Yeah, but either way, just phenomenal blocking by the Giants, and it's maximized because of Jaxson Dart, right?
And here's the thing with Dart as a runner that I wanted to make a point of. In high school, he played in a wing T offense, right? So in a wing 100%. T offense, what'd you say?
I said,
oh, nice. You were in the wing T. In a wing T offense, if you're the quarterback, you're going to be running a lot, and you're going to have to develop skills as a runner. He may not be the fastest runner. He's definitely not a straight line fast as Jones was. But his agility, his lateral quickness, and then his just savvy vision, like the cuts we show, the vision, the patience, he is a really effective runner. This, like, I understand there's talks about his injuries. There's talks about everything that's gone down from the concussion standpoint. But this is a part of his game, Jaxson Dart. And he's going to have to, whoever comes in as coach, Kafka, or whoever they bring in next, is going to have to devise a system that utilizes this skill set.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. I mean, that's a part of his profile. It's a massive part of his profile.
And he's really good at it.
My contention with the whole Jaxson Dart being used too much as a rusher really is just in those like final 5 minutes of the Eagles game where they're getting blown out. Like that's stupid. That's where I'm like, what are you doing? This is a competitive game. You're going to use your quarterback's ability to run the football. So that's where I stand on it. It's football. It's a physical sport. You're going to take hits. You don't want to do it all the time, but the Giants didn't do it all the time. And every time they did do it, it was a chunk play for the New York Giants, resulting in 2 touchdowns, mind you. So I think it's a little bit of a, I don't know. I don't necessarily agree with a lot of the rhetoric around Twitter when it comes to that specifically, but I do agree with the whole, like, if it's a dead game, don't put your quarterback, you don't run him on the goal line. Like, that's ridiculous. Which
correct. I'm glad you included this play. This was one I was referencing earlier at the top of the show from a processing standpoint by Dart. Look how fast he comes off of the play side when it's not there.
And the ball placement, dude. So there's an empty formation. The Giants run one of their switch releases to the top of the screen, 3x2 set to the field, and that's where Dart opens up. So you have Daniel Bellinger, who's the number 2, running the wheel around the post, and then you have a little spot route as the number 3. But it's covered up well by the 3 Bears defenders over there. So Dart quickly comes off it, and he sees Theo Johnson bend inward and Slayton sit, and he sees how Theo clears out the linebacker there, Tremaine Edmonds, and that leaves Darius Slayton against the deep third defender. And in doing that, there's depth there. Jaxson Dart quickly fires the football to the outside portion of Darius Slayton, seeing that the third defender was actually going inward on this route because he was squeezing Theo Johnson as well. So it's just like he understands just like this, man, to where exactly to precisely put the football to maximize the yards after the catch. Now, Slayton gets tackled. It was a nice individual play by that Bears DB, but throwing it in that position allowed Slayton to at least have maybe the slightest of opportunities to spin out if the DB did not play it this well.
Yeah, you broke it down really well, Nick. To me, it's just really incredible. If you want to run, I mean, this is Zach. We can talk about this in a second, but to me, it's just really incredible that a rookie quarterback is able to come that fast off of where he's initially designed to go with the first read and still make this an on-time throw and on target from a ball placement. And again, it's like that first throw you put in the film review. It's away from the defender. It's outside, so you can make a hands catch, again, away from the coverage. The ball placement is perfect. That's literal perfect ball placement.
Yeah. No, it's great, man. And good
We're
hands
just
catch.
not completing that play. Most 99 of 100 times I've watched that play the Giants run over the last decade.
Yeah, I don't even know if he gets to that read that quickly.
No one gets into that read that quickly that we've had.
Now, here is a 3rd and 7, quarter 4, 3:06, end of the game. We have Russell Wilson in, and it's just it's a phenomenal blitz by Dennis Allen. They run cover 0, and you could see it's just 4-on-4 with a quarterback spy, and everyone else is going. And if you see, watch this from the end zone angle. It's a 2017 game at this point. The offense of the Bears needs the football back, right? And I just felt like Dennis Allen just completely toyed with the Giants protection here. It's difficult though. You can see them trying to set everything, and it's like, where are the threats going? And you can see how there's blockers just wasted. They send 2 guys stunt inward towards the B gap or towards the A gap, and 44 is just going to occupy the center long enough to give 98 a little bit of leverage, while you also stunt 98 around 99. That's one of the guys going into the A gap. That forces Jermaine Illuminor to look at 99 and say, that's going to be my responsibility. But then who is taking 35 at that point? Because you have to eliminate the most dangerous man, which is going to be inside rusher. So you're creating a free rusher with this move off of with 35, who was the defensive back, going around Jermaine Illuminor, and no one's going to be able to pick him up because of that stunt, while also occupying the center with 98, depending on how the center does this. 98 might go free through the A gap, with also 94 doing the same thing. So it's a tough thing to block up, because you don't have the numbers to do it. And you have Russell Wilson back there, and Wilson's not going to be able to evade this, and he ends up getting sacked.
Well said.
Yeah. And then I put my notes. I'm like, yo, Shane Bowen, take some notes, take some notes there, bub. Yeah. But those are all the plays that I have.
I want to throw one more up there real quick that I just wanted to discuss earlier. Let's see if I can find it still. You had a bunch in here, but let's see. Timing. I think I put it. Yeah, just this one real quick. I just want to show this is nothing crazy from Jaxson Dart, but I just really he got into a nice rhythm in this game. And he's just able to understand where the leverage is, understand where the space is, catch the football, hit the back foot, and drive the ball outside the numbers to Wan'Dale Robinson here. It's a simple looking throw, but it just shows that it just shows what we saw in the first half, which was the most in rhythm version of his game that I think we've seen as a pro.
Yeah. And it's also just take advantage of the leverage, right?
Yep.
Like take advantage. You're going to, Giants do a good job motioning Wan'Dale inside, and you could see him just set up on the stack, and then he's just going to run in the wake of Theo Johnson and break outward. And it's like that curl flat defender cannot get outside. Right. And then the deep defender needs to pay attention to Theo Johnson. So it's also great X's and O's and just knowing what the defense is going to do, and attacking a player who's going to be in conflict with excellent leverage that's being established post snap.
Yep. And again, the ability that Dart has shown, not only just quickly come off his first read and go to a second read, but to quickly come off his first read and then understand spatially where the next read is going to be. That's really impressive. Again, we're waxing poetic about it. I talked about it a lot. I wouldn't be this impressed with him if he wasn't playing this high level of ball that I believe he is playing, to be quite honest. I'm waiting for the shoe to drop, Nick. I'm waiting for us to get bad tape on Dart. And San Francisco game wasn't perfect by any means, but he still made some high level throws even in that game against a defense that, from a schematic standpoint, I think had Dable and Kafka somewhat figured out in Robert Salah.
I agree.
Who, by the way, might be a candidate for the Giants, potentially. Yeah,
man. I got to talk to some Jet fans about how that went, but
they're not going to be fans, I'm sure.
Yeah, no, I've heard bad things, but I'm going to judge everything based off of what I see and what I can discern. And I know he's a damn good defensive mind. I know that much.
Yeah,
just watch that.
I mean, there's people that I just know would turn this Giants defense around. He's one of them. There's guarantees in my mind. He's working with way less talent right now in San Francisco.
Bring in Salah, bring in LaFleur's younger brother.
You would have to get part. That's part of the beauty, if you want to call it that, of him as a potential candidate. It's that you get a Shanahan coaching tree offensive coordinator. That's not my number one option, though. My number one option as of right now and it's not going to be a popular one either. I just personally believe in this person, and we don't have to talk about this too much now, but I personally believe in this person's ability in his second chance of doing it to lead men, to get people to rally behind him, and then also to coach a great defense. It would be Steve Spagnuolo as head coach. I really believe in him as a person and as a leader. I know it didn't work out in St. Louis. I think it was still at the time. He had such a bad roster there. And I know he had a little bit of and he had a chance, a little bit, I guess, a chance with the Giants as interim, but we know like things were shot at that point with the franchise. But I just know how the Chiefs players talk about him. I read about how they revere him and how they feel about him as their defensive coordinator. And then obviously, I think, if you get him, you pair him with Mike McDaniel, the offensive coordinator. Like that to me is still on the tape because I believe Mike McDaniel can really, really maximize an offense.
Yeah, now that's something that would certainly. I'm excited for this head coach search. There's going to be so many great conversations on this podcast talking about that. Kubiak is another. He's like a 38-year-old. Do you want to go that route? Like, will Mara go that route? I think there's a lot of pros and there are some cons to doing that. It's taking a risk, but I just hope the Giants have a very thorough search into exactly what will best maximize the young talent on this team that the Giants so believe is a product of Joe Schoen's efforts.
Yep. Agreed. All right. Let's get into some superlatives here then, Nick, and we can wrap up there. Been a little bit of a fun show to talk about the Giants offense, even in a season like this. I want to get your unheralded player on tape.
Devin Singletary. I felt like he, again, they couldn't really run the football, but the pass blocking and then the 41-yard play that helped put the Giants in a position to actually win. It was the only play that was positive, it seemed like, other than some of the rushes that he was also a part of when Jaxson Dart left the game. But yeah, I went with Singletary. I think there's a few other options though too.
I went Theo Johnson, man. Look, we've given him a hard time at times. Obviously, he's had some rough moments in this season, but man, did he put together a game that, again, if he didn't, the Giants would have had no chance to win, in my opinion. It was mostly Dart this game, and then Singletary played a big role in the win as well. Andrew Thomas, as always, but Theo's in that big four of players that made a difference on offense for sure in this game.
All right, best throw.
Very hard. There's a lot to go with. I just don't think you can pick anything else but that Theo throw that we said. That's the most special throw of the game.
The 21-yard one up the sideline.
Yeah,
that's the one I went with as well.
It's hard to not pick that one. Then there's other options. The backside dig to Slayton, the backside dig to Wandell, among others. But the Theo one is just too hard to not go with. Best player on tape. This one's pretty obvious. Jaxson Dart. Though I would say this, Andrew Thomas is in the mix as well. Like he pitched a almost perfect game out there.
Yeah, there were a few run blocking ones where he got there was a play by Grady Jarrett. I put it up on Twitter because I was like, dude, this is just an insane play by a 32-year-old defensive lineman where Thomas and the guard go to double team him and they both just slide off him. It's like his feet were like cemented in the deck, like they couldn't do anything. But yeah, and then player we expect to see more from.
This one was tough for me because like I put in my notes. Honestly, I went with NA and I was looking around. I don't really have anyone that fits the billing for me in this one. We've talked about some players we expect to see more from in the past, but I don't expect to see more from some of those players as I move forward, to be quite honest. So I don't know. I didn't have a good answer for this. I put in NA.
I did. I mean, Daniel Bellinger. We're big fans of Daniel Bellinger on this podcast, but I mean, he'd be the first one to say, like, I can't throw that block and I can't, and I have to come down with that football, even though it was a tough play to make. So, I think Daniel Bellinger is valuable. I hope the Giants resign him, but that's my easy answer there.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. What was your pass blocking grade in this game?
I went 4.9 because I didn't feel like it was terrible, but there were some miscommunications and there were some, so I think just slightly below average. What about you?
Yeah, I went with 5.8. I was a little higher on it. I just felt like Dart had some pretty good pockets back there for the most part, and they were able to run play action from under center, which is really difficult for an offensive line.
Great point.
But I agree. It didn't look perfect, despite Andrew Thomas, who was essentially perfect. Run blocking 1 through 10. This has been falling for us, by the way. I was looking back at some of this before we recorded. Like the run blocking has really taken a downward turn this season.
Yeah, 2.1. I went with.
I went with 1.7. Like there was not much I thought was impressive about the run. So here's the thing. Like there are sometimes the Giants can scheme something up in the run game. It depends like what credit you want to give to those bash plays and those quarterback runs from Dart, like how much credit you want to give to the blocking there. But when they actually need to just like move people at the point of attack, this line is just not really capable of it. In my mind, at least in some of these short yard situations, don't have the guys. And unfortunately, that does, for me at least, include Jermaine Illuminor, who I really like as a pass protector.
Yeah.
And I think he's super important to Dart's development from that standpoint. I don't find him to be the best run blocker by any means, or at least a people mover. And we know that the other three aren't really those guys either. So I just like, this is an area for me. I really hope the Giants have an opportunity to draft a really fun, big person mover on the interior offensive line in this next draft class.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that because
That'd be cool.
It's missed. The Giants had that. The Giants had a very physical offensive line when they were winning Super Bowls, and now, like, I don't think it's a bad offensive line. It's probably it's maybe even a slightly above average offensive line.
Yeah.
I don't know, but you're 100% spot on that they're just not. They don't generate a ton of force into contact outside of like Andrew Thomas. Andrew Thomas can do that.
Outside of Thomas, and so we need a few more players like him as we move forward. All right. That's it for the Big Blue Banter podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in to the offense film breakdown. We hope you enjoyed watching Jaxson Dart. Some of these throws are just unbelievable. Some of the processing, unbelievable. Please leave a like, leave a comment, get involved, help us grow the show. Other than that, we will talk to you soon with the defensive film review.